So, you want to build a treehouse, but you don't know how to get started in Ascended. Hopefully, this will be informative to everyone to get you started. So, before we do get into exactly how to build it, things do snap. Obviously, unlike Evolved, really annoying to try and build stuff in Evolved, but now they do snap. Now, you do have a few options. You can still build like normal. Now it should. We will just test it out very well. Generators, they do fit on here. They obviously do not snap. You can obviously rotate them, but they do not snap. Industrial grills and whatnot. So, cookers, they snap. They're fine. All the other ones, obviously everything else will essentially still snap onto here, but you do not have a actual point. So that's just the note. You can essentially put anything down here that requires the platform, because this seems to work as an actual floor. But if you do want to actually make an actual floor, then this is essentially how you go about it. Now, you can't just build triangles and then go straight upwards, because it will not work. At least I couldn't exactly get it to work. So what you will have to do though, I'll show a few designs in a minute over there. You can sort of just see them now. But to actually get the floors, you've got two options. So you either need to have the full wall or a half wall. So how you want to try and get this to start is, so you get your ceiling. Also, you'll put this on whichever way you're going to go with this. Now, if you want it essentially all the way to the top, these can be a little bit glitchy, I will note. It may not allow us actually to do it with that there. But you should. At least that's how I got to work over that. Over there it was. Okay, so that is not actually working now, but I will show over there in a minute that it does work. But essentially, or I might be getting mixed up, though this may be how you get them to go through into the actual ground, which doesn't really show you anything. So ideally, you probably don't want to do that. So what you do want to try and do, if you want just your normal, semi-normal walls or floors, is essentially half walls, put down a ceiling, and then you can fit one of these in. So, and then obviously with this, all you have to do now is just take these apart, or away, and that will stay there. You can just bring this all the way back, and that will essentially come almost all the way out here, because now just of note, obviously this is where the wall was, so there will be a very slight gap. To my knowledge, there is no way currently to be able to snap these to the ends. That's essentially going to be your best option. You can use these, but these are more ideal for along these ramps. So that's essentially the first part on how to get the floors down, or actually on there. And over here is essentially the actual workings of it, so to speak. So you can sort of see here how you do these is 4 walls, so 4 walls across. Now, one part, so it's essentially 4 squares and then 4 triangles, and you want to go the triangles up until it actually makes an actual triangle, because then it will obviously give you this sort of a pattern, and then you'll go on the inside with another set of triangle pieces to make that sort of barrier. And then I've just done that also to show a bit better. And then you got that little part. You will have some gaps. There will be a few gaps here and there. Now, just of note, while I do remember, these can be slightly glitchy. So what I mean by that is you can have nearly all these in, and then you'll put one last bit in, and it'll say essentially the train doesn't work, or that it won't actually. Never mind. So sort of like here, as obviously here you can see there's a bit of a gap there, but you can't fill that in. Because obviously here, this is what will show essentially it's obstructed. Doesn't matter what you'll use, you essentially can't get these in. Some trees I have tested this on, you can't build on the inside, like this inner part. So if that doesn't bother you, it's not going to matter. But obviously here you're going to have this little bit of a problem here. So obviously, as you can, you know, essentially this is obstructed. So to a degree, your better option will be this this part here, to pretty much on the inner side. So, you know, you'll have plenty of room. You've essentially got about 5-ish foundations out, but this just makes it so, well, obviously here you can keep your generator, because we'll show. If you have your generator about here, it will roughly cover all of the area. So ideally you want to try and have something like that. You can obviously fill these in, and if you really want to, with this part in here, you can put in a secret one. And obviously you'll just open up here, and then you obviously got this back part here to store whatever you want. Now, with the different level parts, this is essentially how I was trying to explain it back over there. So this is made out of the wood, so you will notice it a lot more, but it just shows it a bit better than the metal. So you can either have it fully flat, so it's sort of, we might turn this off. No, wrong one. Right. So you can sort of see here how that works. Same pretty much around there as well. These are actually just walls. So essentially with this same sort of thing here, you can have this first part pretty much as like your own secret sort of underground part. Now, the great thing with the treehouse things is obviously, seeing of how big these are, you could realistically build yourself a little hideout. So obviously, you know, I mean, if you've got a big enough tribe, these are amazing. But, you know, you essentially have whatever you need down here. And you fit heaps of dinosaurs and whatnot, I reckon, on these. But as is that they essentially bring so much space. But yeah, so with this, and so these are actually with the actual foundations. Now I have noticed, as I said about the other one, so as we can sort of see here, this, well, these are foundations. So it's showing that it's obstructed, but where, I do not know. So the problems you will run into, if you have it sunk into the sort of as low as you can sink it, you've got more of a chance that pretty much it will be obstructed. If you have it higher like this, you should not have that problem. Now, if you're going to have it like this, depending obviously on how you're wanting to do it, I'd probably say in one way to do the ceilings like this, because I think the foundations and the ceilings have the exact same snap point, so I don't think it should matter. I have not tested exactly, although I suppose we can very quickly. So yeah, it looks like they've essentially all got the same snap points. Yeah. So yeah, snap points are essentially pretty much the exact same. But if you don't want to run into either any or pretty much no problems, have it raised up. If you're not too worried, if you've got if you're on single plane, you've got it to be, there's a setting to make so you can build into terrain. That's your best friend for this. If you want it down like this, obviously, yeah, if you've got it sunk in on the wood ones, you can, well, you would have been able to see this on here, so yeah, you can't actually put those on, but here you kind of can. So you get, but although like this, that's where it's weird. You know, that can be put on, but this can't. But anyway, so yeah, I think that should be all. So yeah, pretty much just the basics of how to get started on building these. They are a lot better than evolved ones, obviously, because of these snap points. So, and the reason I'm actually making this, because on my Let's Play one of evolved, of ascended, treehouse base is essentially won so far in the votes. So, you know, I've gone to test this. I tested this a while to try and sort this out, and so I said I'd test on many of trees to actually figure out where it will work. As there's different trees will work, some won't. So if you're on official, be mindful of where you're putting it, and I would advise, as is, if you're on official, build it the higher level up. If you're on single player, same sort of thing, I suppose, unless you're over here with one of these. The metal ones, obviously, it all depends on what you're using, so you know, you go with what you have. Anyway, I hope everyone has found this informative, and yeah, I don't think there is anything else I need to cover, because that's essentially quite literally the basics of how to build on here. And yeah, as is, hope everyone has found this informative, and will help everyone start their builds, because yeah, I didn't know exactly how to start this, and there's probably already videos out there, but probably a lot of them will either be speed runs or of actually building houses. So this is just essentially like your base template of what you need to do. But anyway, I hope everyone has enjoyed, and I shall see everybody next time.